So I hope you guys caught my top 20 Dominique Ropion created fragrances video. Video with 20 of my favorite Dominique Ropion fragrances, ones he created for different brands. And as mentioned in that video, I'm doing a follow-up video of Frederic Malle fragrances that Dominique Ropion has created. And sure enough, I have every single one of the ones that he's created for Frederic Malle, 9 total, here in this video, and I'm ranking it from my least favorite to my most favorite. If you caught the video from the other day with the top 20, you'll probably know my top 3 here. But either way, I'm going to let you know all about Dominique Ropion's creations for Frederic Malle and how it ranks in my list. So if you want to find out what they are, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. Yes, somehow it turns out that I have every single one of the fragrances that Dominique Ropion has created for Frederic Malle. 9 total fragrances. In fact, in the video I mentioned I have 7, but no, I have 9. All of them are here, including Geranium Pomecio. This was a recent pickup. A friend was selling some used fragrances that she had, and I bought some of her Frederic Malle fragrances, which I will do a separate video on. And there's 3 or 4 additional fragrances, including the Geranium Pomecio. So yes, I'm getting into that fragrance because at one point I didn't care for how the mint was, but I'm actually opening up to it and enjoying its nuances and licoricey touches. There's some anise note in there as well, which I didn't really know was in there, and it's beautiful actually. It's opening up to me. So either way, I'll let you know all about these 9 fragrances and how it ranks today. But before I do, if this is your first time tuning into the channel and you still haven't subscribed, please do click the subscribe button below, and also click the bell so that you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. Dominique Ropion has created the most fragrances for Frederic Malle. I had to stop and think there for a minute, but 9 out of the entire collection of Frederic Malle fragrances are created by Dominique Ropion. That's a lot. That's almost 10. I don't know if he's working on another one. We shall see. But there's 9 here today, and I'm going to start ranking it for you. Starting with the first one, called Unfleur de Cassie. This one somehow ends up on my bottom of the list in my videos. It's not a bad fragrance. It's very, very musky, but also features lots of mimosa flower. So if you like mimosa flower, this is the kind of fragrance that I would suggest you try. But it also has cassie flower, which is a form of acacia flower. Mimosa flower also falls under this umbrella of flowers, acacia, and apparently cassie flower is featured in here as well. But along with those 2 flowers, there's jasmine absolute, sandalwood, vanilla, musk, aldehydes, and rose. Whenever I associate mimosa flower, there's like a baby soft kind of powder, soft skin kind of reaction I have with this particular note, and it's definitely present here. But this is in the form of Frederic Malle. It's intense. The fragrance is pretty beefy. It's very, very floral and woody at the same time. There's definitely those sweet touches in here as well. There's vanilla and some musk. And the muskiness in here very lightly reminds me of the muskiness in Musk Ravageur. They're completely different fragrances though, and created by different perfumers. This one definitely is lots of musk with lots of that kind of acacia flower, mimosa, cassie flower mixture here. I think it's a nice fragrance. It's not my favorite. I think mimosa as a flower in fragrances is an acquired taste. Definitely leans powdery as well, and it's definitely full on here. This is Unfleur de Cassie. That's number 9. So the number 8 is Geranium Pomecio. This is a recent pickup. Recently I picked it up. A friend was selling some of her Frederic Malle fragrances. Not a lot of it was used either, so I picked up this plus 3 or 4 others. Ones that I didn't have in my collection, and I'm going to do a separate video on those fragrances. They're classics, but I am featuring it here because I have it now, and it is created by Dominique Ropion. But the thing is, this one actually really rubbed me the wrong way. The mint in here came off a little toothpastey, but I've kind of started looking past that, because once you do, there's aniseed in here, and I love aniseed, in foods and in desserts and things like that, and it really is prominent here. It's a nice contrast to the mint, which can come off a little bit toothpastey, as I said. But the fragrance, after all, is called Geranium Pomecio. It is about the geranium. The mint and the aniseed are kind of like what you start with. You're left with lots of geranium and kind of woodsy notes and resins. And there's cloves in here, but there's also loads of frankincense. But mint, aniseed, geranium, cloves, sandalwood, benzoin, frankincense. It's a green fragrance. It's very aromatic. It's very spicy and also woody in the dry down with light ambery, smoky touches. I'm gonna, put it to use and see how I like it. And the tests I've done so far, I'm really digging the aniseed part of this fragrance, even though, as I said, the mint up top is almost like toothpaste. And I'm starting to, as I said, dig into it. So, Geranium Pomecio from Frederic Malle, created by Dominique Ropion at number 8. When I was doing the video of the top 20 of Dominique Ropion fragrances, I mentioned that he's really great with spicy fragrances, white flowers, and then also ouds. And we do have ouds here. We have one white flower, but this is definitely a wide range of styles he's covering here as far as fragrances go that he did for Frederic Malle. So you won't find a lot of similar fragrances. So at number 7, it's Vetiver Extraordinaire. So this is a great vetiver fragrance, but for some reason I have not fully embraced this particular vetiver as one of my favorites. I don't know, is it because I feel like it's so popular that I kind of want to okay, I don't want to fall into that popularity thing because it is so embraced. I mean, I think it's a really, really popular fragrance, probably one of the best sellers at Frederic Malle, but it's almost like been there, done that, kind of like, I know this vetiver, I've smelled it, but this is a really, really great quality vetiver, which is also created by Dominique Ropion. Again, he's known for those white flowers, spicy, and then oudy fragrances. This is completely different, and I do enjoy this one. It's a great scent. It's just kind of falls behind some of my other favorite vetivers because I acquired and bought this fragrance much after I had all the other vetiver fragrances. But I know there's lots of fans of this one. It features loads of vetiver, sandalwood, cedar, cashmeran, oak moss, musk, pink pepper, bergamot, bitter orange. So you have lots of woods, you have musk and spices, and of course citruses as well. Gorgeous fragrance. Number 7, Frederic Malle Vetiver Extraordinaire. Let me know if you're a fan of that one. I'd like to find out who's a fan of that one. The next fragrance I'm going to talk to you about is a great, great fragrance. One of my favorites. I've had this for a while. And it's here because it is, after all, a citrus. This is Frederic Malle's Cologne Indelible, of course, created by Dominique Ropion. This is a gorgeous, eau de cologne style fragrance in the Frederic Malle kind of creation, where it's got its intensity and beefiness. It's long lasting, but still it's a citrus. It's not going to be like overwhelming kind of a thing. Lots of neroli here: orange blossom, bergamot, white musk, narcissus, lemon. And this one definitely has the soapy clean qualities, and it's perfect when it's really, really hot outside, very humid and things like that. It's one of the best, I think, eau de cologne style, fresh cologne-y kind of fragrances. But as I said, it is created by the Frederic Malle house, so the fragrances here are more intense. It's an eau de parfum concentration. I believe it's eau de parfum. Either way though, what a wonderful fragrance it is. If you like neroli, portofino, and things like that, this will definitely satisfy. So that's Frederic Malle Cologne Indelible, created by Dominique Ropion. And once again, we've had so many different styles. We had the mimosa, we had the geranium with mint, and we had the what did we have? We had the vetiver, we had the eau de cologne style. Now we've got lots of beefy fragrances coming up. This fragrance, created by Dominique Ropion for Frederic Malle, is called Superstitious. It's one of the bottles that's different than your traditional Frederic Malle bottles. This is in collaboration with a fashion designer, and he recently passed away. But it's definitely a unique creation from Dominique Ropion. This time the star is aldehydes with lots of rose and jasmine. Those are what's basically running the show. And aldehydic fragrances, again, it's totally different than what we've smelled so far in the Frederic Malle house created by Dominique Ropion. And as I said, aldehydic fragrances are very, very fizzy. There's something about the aldehydic fragrances that makes wearing the fragrances a little easier because it has this kind of like fluff, not fluffy, but like floaty kind of easiness about them, because there's this bubbliness and fizziness, as I said, with aldehydes. But again, once again, this is a Frederic Malle fragrance. Everything is overwhelmingly intense. This is definitely an intense fragrance, and you've got to love aldehydes, you've got to love rose and jasmine. But there's lots of amber here, lots of vetiver. Patchouli definitely is prominent. Love the patchouli here. And then of course peach. There's a fruity touch here. The combination is just gorgeous. Really, really great. But there is a light, kind of slight animalic undertone there that you gotta love, but it smells fantastic. Really, really does. I love it. Superstitious at number 5, created by Dominique Ropion. The next one is one I did not feature in the video from a few days ago, because number 3, 2, 1 were featured in the video. This one is not. This is Promise from the Desert Gems collection. And I should also let you guys know there's a few other Frederic Malle themed videos I've done. I've done a rose themed video, which is all the rose fragrances that are, you know, from the Frederic Malle house. If you guys are curious about that video, you should go catch it. And then once again, there's also a Desert Gems collection video, which highlights the Middle Eastern style with the Middle Eastern writing Desert Gems collection, in which this was featured in that video. This is Promise at number 4. I was going to put this one on the list, but I couldn't put more than 3. And this is a very, very unique fragrance. It's funny, I have a neighbor in my building that wears this fragrance as well, and we were having a Christmas party a couple of years ago in the building, and I smelled it off of her. I'm like, that's you know, that's Promise from Frederic Malle. And then I found out that she's a closet perfume lover. And loves Frederic Malle fragrances. But it's nice to smell a fragrance that you're familiar with that not a lot of people know about, you know, when you smell this, because it's a very, very distinct smell with loads of Cypriol. The Cypriol note is very, very prominent, absolutely prominent. And what it does is connects with the apples. It gives you kind of like an apple liqueur, Calvados-like smell with like the barrel aging and boozy kind of thing. Very, very boozy fragrance. If you like boozy fragrances, definitely try Promise. I should also specify the Desert Gems collection is very, very pricey. This is the least expensive in the Desert Gems collection, but lots of Cypriol with apples, rose, patchouli, labdanum, pink pepper. Wonderful to wear, really, really intense fragrance, and it smells fantastic. Just like you're smelling inside the barrel where they're aging an apple liqueur, you know? You can smell the barrel and the liqueur itself. Fantastic smell. Number 4, Frederic Malle Promise. Check it out. I think it's a really, really great fragrance. So if you watched the other video, you'll definitely know the remainder of the list. At number 3, it's Carnal Flower. And a great white flower, and this is the only white flower fragrance here we have. We already had Mimosa flower, which is a yellow flower. But here we have a full-on in-your-face tuberose and jasmine explosion. And what I was saying in the last video, this is a coconutty experience. It makes it for a fresh wear. It's not an intense white floral experience like something like the Supreme Bouquet from YSL I was mentioning. Had an ambery, woody base. This one you can get away with when it's really, really hot outside, which I like that about it. Tuberose, eucalyptus, jasmine, coconut, orange blossom, ylang ylang, melons, white musk, bergamot. And there's a green touch running throughout the fragrance, which I think I forgot to mention in the last video. But I think the eucalyptus here gives us this kind of like light green camphoric experience, which is totally prominent in eucalyptus leaves. What a wonderful fragrance this is. Definitely deserving of the number 3 spot. Carnal Flower at number 3, created by Dominique Ropion. Do you know my number 2 and number 1? As I said, if you watched that last video, you'll know. The Night from Frederic Malle is at number 2. And one thing I forgot to mention in the last video, this is an all-natural oud. And that's why this is really, really expensive. In comparison to Promise, from the same collection, the Desert Gems collection, this is about $400. This is about $1,600. That's how pricey this is, because they're using all natural oud. And it's mostly about the oud, Turkish rose, and amber. You gotta like skanky, animalic fragrances. And you know, it's animalic, but I think when you open up to it, it's really, really beautiful, and it dries down really, really beautifully. And I will always say this is definitely like a animalic oudi version or oudi take on Portrait of a Lady, because the rose in here smells very similar. And you remove the cloves and you remove the incense and patchouli, you kind of left with this, because the rose is very similar to Portrait of a Lady. Either way, it's a fantastic fragrance. A tiny dab of this goes a long way. The fragrance lasts forever. Anyway, Frederic Malle, The Night, a wonderful fragrance. And then, of course, you guessed it, at number 1, it's Portrait of a Lady. And you know, this is the fragrance that really kickstarted my appreciation of not only Frederic Malle fragrances, but of the perfumer Dominique Ropion and his fragrances. Once I smelled this, I was really in heaven, you know, perfume heaven, because very, very beautifully intoxicating fragrance. I just love it. It's really stand out. The combination of notes, roses, incense, patchouli, raspberry, spices of cloves. I think there's some cinnamon, and there's an ambery dry down of benzoin and things like that. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous fragrance. Major compliments with this one. Really stand out. Huge trail. People will smell you. That's why they're going to compliment you, and it's definitely deserving of the number 1 spot. So that is Frederic Malle's Portrait of a Lady, created by Dominique Ropion, at number 1. One of the best fragrances ever created, I think. In my book, I think it's one of the best smells ever. Just a fantastic smell. It was love at first sniff. Absolutely love it. Anyway, those are the 9 Frederic Malle Dominique Ropion created fragrances today, ranked with my least favorite to my most favorite. Yeah, this is it. This is a great collection of fragrances. Dominique Ropion does some great fragrances for different houses. And you know, I didn't get into the fragrances he's created that I don't like. There are fragrances that I don't like that he's created. A lot of them tend to be designers. There's some niche, but there's stuff that he's done that I don't care for. I don't know if I want to do a separate video highlighting the ones I don't care, but one of the ones I don't care is Invictus, one of the worst fragrances I've ever smelled. I think it's just a swampy mess, I think. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. But these are some of the best fragrances he's created from this house. And of course, I have a more appreciation for something like Portrait of a Lady in comparison to Unfleur de Cassie. But, you know, this is all subjective. I have a different taste than you. You might think Unfleur de Cassie is a much better fragrance than Portrait of a Lady. So this is what makes this hobby really, really fun, because tastes are so different. Either way, guys, thanks so much for tuning in today to watch this Frederic Malle Dominique Ropion Creative Fragrances ranked video. As I said, if you haven't caught any of the other videos I've done on Frederic Malle fragrances, go catch that. Desert Gems collection, Frederic Malle Roses. There's also a top 20 Frederic Malle fragrances video with Dahlia. And of course, definitely go catch the top 20 Dominique Ropion created fragrances, which features not only Frederic Malle but other brands. And stay tuned for another Frederic Malle video of fragrances that I have recently picked up, which will include Geranium Pomecio, and then also 3 or 4 other fragrances that I bought recently used from a friend who was getting rid of her fragrances. Anyway, thanks so much for tuning in. As I said, if you have any questions or comments, please list below. If you had this list today, how would you rank it? Let me know. Put a comment down so I can find out. There's not a lot here. 9, or you can just leave it at the top 5. But let me know, in this collection of 9 Dominique Ropion Frederic Malle created, Dominique Ropion created Frederic Malle fragrances, how would you rank it? Put it down so I can find out. Thanks so much, guys. Please like this video, please share it, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.